Yo, what's up, trainer people? This is Scott from Rift. I'm trying commentary for old race videos from the 2019 cross season. We'll see how it goes. If it's fun, I'll keep doing it. So this race is early season race. Is like I think this is like late September-ish. This is the midnight ride of Cyclocross. It's in upper central Massachusetts somewhere. I don't know, I don't really remember. But huge turnout, kind of like a New England staple from what I gather. This was my first year going to it. I plan to return. This is the Cat 3-4 field, and this is like, so this was actually my last race as a Cat 3, and then I got into all the UCI stuff for the rest of the year, and just elite races in general, rest of the year, but these Cat 3, whoa, sick pass. But these Cat 3 races were, I think this race there was somewhere between like 50 and 75 people. That like amount of riders, whoa, sit down. That amount of riders is so fun racing with that many people. And you don't get that in the elite races. So enjoy it, Cat 3 racers. Those big crazy fields. This is a super sick course. Fast bits here, flowing through these tree turns. Really good course, really varied course. There's some sand coming up. You go through like these horse stables with this really loose kind of like mulch material, very tricky. Some good power sections. Coming into the start finish right here. That was the finish line there. I think there's about 4 laps to go at this point. And I'm just fighting to get up to the first place. I think there's about 4 laps to go. For some reason I don't have the first lap. All my first laps for all the races I recorded somehow were deleted. Because I guess I'm a garbage human. So we missed the start, but basically, like I had a front row start. I think this was, for some reason I'm definitely like chasing. Obviously, I think right now me and this junior Devo, there's Mr. Cross Results there shouting out. We're fighting for the 3rd spot. No, right now we're in 4th. And up ahead of us is a 545 Velo rider. Shout out, Nick Nardelli. Yeah, so he's in 3rd, and we're both trying to bridge up to him. And then not too far up is 1st and 2nd place. I think 2nd place is a teammate of the rider in front of me right now, whose wheel I'm following. Yeah, like this area of the course I love. This is kind of like wide lanes, flowing turns, power sections here. Like this is a super power straightaway right here. Everybody gets out of the saddle, squeezes as much speed out of that as you possibly can. The more tight, like punchy courses for me are harder. I have more of like a kind of, I don't know, I guess like a steady state engine. So I find that I can usually like, if wheels have gapped me, I can usually close the gaps on like the straighter power sections. But anyway, I'm trying to follow this junior up here, and he's past 3rd place here. And we're in this sand section. So that was like an awesome move on him to get out in front of that rider going into the sand, because obviously you can't pass in here, and there's a much more likelihood of you know, biffing a turn or putting a foot down, whatever. So that was smart of him to get out in front and lead it. And now it's like, I'm all clogged up with this dude in front of me. Not that he's a slouch by any stretch. This sand wasn't, it looked sketchy back there, but it was actually very like shallow. It was a shallow pit. It was honestly just like sand, like sprinkled on the ground. So it wasn't like you had to stay in the exact right, like precise line. So I think that was kind of like a half-assed attempt to pass him right there on the outside. Didn't work. I think he saw me at the corner of his eye and just punched it a bit more. Which is like great defense on his part, because it's like, just like Mr. Cross built young. I think he's coaching the junior. Yeah, so like half-assed like passing attempts like that are like something I've tried to get better at, because it can just be a complete waste of energy. It's like either commit to the passer and be aggressive about it, which I'm usually not. Like I'm the least aggro rider, but it's like either commit to it or maybe don't. So a little wood section here. He got thrown off his bike. He didn't lose too much time, but it allowed me to get up right up to the wheel. And I really liked his style of riding. He was really well dialed in on the course and taking the right lines and putting power down where it made sense. So I wanted to stay with him and, to be quite honest, just like learn what I could from him. So going into these horse stables here, kind of like a pretty unusual horse feature. That's like, that mulch is very loose, very, very loose. I can't really think of anything to compare it to. I mean, it's like, it's sand, but it's got those big bark pieces in there, and it'll just give. I think if you don't obey the speed limit, it'll give in those turns, and you'll just lose your wheel without any notice. So that was a tricky part. Big part about cross for sure is like learning the speed limits and obeying them, and knowing when to push the speed limits or when not to. Like the first two years I raced cross, like I had a lot of power because I started on road initially. So I had a lot of power, and I would not obey speed limits, and I would crash a lot. I would just drill it hard, crash in a corner, lose a bunch of time, drill it hard to catch up, make up the time I lost, and like rinse and repeat. But you learn the speed limits. You learn, honestly, it's like you learn like the physics almost of like how much momentum you can have for any given course feature. And as you learn one course and second course, you start to just get a general idea of what to do and what not to do. So so he took a really good line there. He took the wide outside line around that tree, and I cut it kind of more inwardly, and his exit speed was much faster, and he put some bike lengths in front of me. So something as simple as that, like moving your bike over in a turn a couple feet to the left or right and taking that apex like a little differently and a little bit more effectively. That just like wins you. He just like won a second over me easily without doing anything. So it's like geometry is a big part of cross, is like understanding the geometry of the course and then knowing where to put power, how much power. And then of course like being sensitive to learning like the sensitivity of you with your bike and the traction underneath your bike so you don't go flying into a tree. So basically I am going to solve this problem of him gapping me. I think I'm just gonna solve this like with watts here. So I'm just like putting down 500, 600 watts for, 30 seconds, whatever, 15 seconds. And it brings me back up to a wheel. And that's all well and good. I mean, it like worked, but you only can do that so many times, of course. You only solve the problem with watts so many times until you feel like crap. So I think my plot was essentially like, I think like him and I both had not ideal starts. So like we're kind of like in it together. We're both trying to get back up to the front of the race. And it's not far ahead of us. So with, like 2 or 3 laps left, I think there's like 2 laps left. I don't know, we'll see. But you can see there, you could just see second place go by. So we're really only like there he is there. So it's like 1, 2, like 4 or 5 seconds behind second place. So there's plenty of time to catch up, and I'm like, I know he wants to do it. And he's riding great. He knows what he's doing. And he's super strong, so I'm gonna follow him. Okay, so that was first place. A couple seconds, then second place, a couple seconds, and then us. So getting there. And I mean, so like the reason why I wanted to follow his wheel is like, this is like maybe one of the first couple races of this season. Maybe it was like the 3rd race or something for me. Maybe the 4th, I don't know, something like that. But like, I did not have a season the year before. And I didn't even really have a road season. And I've been training really well. Like I got a coach and everything for the year, and I've been training hard. But not having the season before, like this is amazing. Like I missed 1 season, and this felt like such a new thing to me. Like very little confidence in bike driving abilities when going like full gas on a cross course. So, and that's fine, because you can get it back as long as you don't give up. So, but what that meant was basically like, I am going to spend the first half of this season or whatever just like getting back warmed up into it and finding like good wheels to follow, and like honestly just like being at school, man, like just like studying what the sharper riders are doing. I mean, because I have plans to start racing UCI races. Like it's like my 4th year racing. I've worked super hard. I have good power and everything. I love doing it, so I want to race UCI, but at the same time, it's like I have no confidence because it's been so long since to me, it feels like it's been so long since I did this. So it's like I'm gonna follow wheels and just like learn from awesome racers like this Junior Devo rider. And it's crazy, like, so like even that right there, like he just put like a second into me there, no problem, because he was able to click in and sprint out of the saddle, like, like immediately, like continuous, get on the bike and you're immediately sprinting out of the saddle. And again, I was able to like solve the problem with watts here, but it's like that like muscle memory to click into your pedals immediately. Like that was something I struggled with for like most of the season, to be quite honest. Like it was just, you're not used to doing that, like especially when your heart rate is pegged at the max, the terrain is bumpy. So it's like, I almost feel like if you want to be a serious cross racer, like you should like just kind of like ride your cross like all year. And maybe that's like something everyone else is doing and I'm just figuring that out, but it's important to stay sharp. So he goes down, because again, that stuff is so loose, so easy to lose traction in there. Like if you don't hit those banks just right, the terrain will just like give, just so loose. So I mean that's good for me. Like I was following closely, so it slowed me down a little bit too. But I mean obviously he was off his bike, so it wasn't as bad for me as him. And there, I think that 545 Velo racer is still in the mix there. He's not too far back. We kind of just saw him there. But it's like funny in a cross race because someone can look so close to you, but like if you're in one of those tight turning sections that are slow, as soon as you get onto the power section like this, it's like, oh, he's not actually that close. So it's like the variation in speed in a cross race is so much more than road. It can actually like mess with your perception a little bit, I think. I don't know. Kind of an interesting thing I was just thinking about. This whole thing is going to be completely unedited, like one take. So it might get weird and rambly, but hopefully it'll keep you company on your trainer. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm just riding really low recovery, spinning my legs out. Lap traffic there, no big deal. Second place right up there, still dangling in front of me. Trying to get up to him. Make the junction up to him. I like using the word junction. It sounds like sci-fi, like I'm in a starship or something. I remember Curtis White used that term in like the Fitchburg Crit, like in like the cable access TV interview after he won. He was like, yeah, I made the junction up to like, he like laughed the fuel. He's like, then I'm like decided to get off the brake and ready to make the junction up to the whole time. And that always stuck with me. I like how bike racing makes you feel like you're like, to me it's like you're piloting like a spaceship through like an asteroid field or something. You know, and that's like the course. That's like the course obstacles and features. It's like you have to like, it's like, oh, I just had to get out of my spaceship and like, and, like carry it over some shit there. But then it's like something like this. The speed is so high and like so flowing like that, and you just feel so in control and like and just you know you're squeezing as much speed as possible out. It's the best. It's the best thing. I love cross. So okay, so there's 2 laps left now, and at this point, just like trying to get to you, second place. So close, but so far. That's kind of what I was saying before. It's like someone will look like they're so close, but it's like to actually get there. I mean, if you're riding 20 psi in grass, it takes a while. It takes a lot of strength. And that second place, yeah, he was a junior too. I was first place, and they were wicked strong, man. Like hard. Have to do everything to catch him. Drink this Red Bull. I'm drinking a Red Bull at 5 p.m. because I went out for an hour ride this morning, but then it rained. It was 40 degrees, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna ride outside. But then it started raining. It started raining 20 minutes into the ride. 20 minutes! And the forecast said it wouldn't rain for, said I had 2 hours. But at 20 minutes into the ride. And I sucked it up for another hour. But then I was like, I'm gonna go home and eat sweet potato fries and just like hang out for a while and then get back on the trainer. This is I'm at like hours like 13 or something. It's a Saturday. And I did 20 hours last week. And I'm trying to do the same this week. So honestly, like I'm somewhat brain fogged right now. So solve that with caffeine, just like I'm solving this race with watts. That's the thing though about junior racers, like I have so much respect for them because Whereas like I can solve, like I got into this as a, like a grown man with, you know, grown man physiology. So it was easy for me to get lots of power after training for like a year. And so I can just like muscle my way through things if I have to. If I have to, it's not ideal. But but like a junior racer, by contrast, they can't solve things with watts, at least as they're coming up when they're younger. Because they'll be racing like adults in, Cat 4 or 5 or whatever. So for them, they can't solve with watts, and they just have to learn to become as efficient as possible in terms of riding the course optimally. So dialing in every single corner, knowing exactly what you can get away with, speed limits, all of that. Technique, most efficient, dismounting, remounting, bunny hopping, etc. Like they have to focus on having the sharpest skills as possible when you're racing people that are just physically bigger than you. Whether you be like any age, honestly. So I give them big ups for sure. I mean, that's because when they get older, obviously they have a complete picture. By the time you're 18, you have these amazing skills, and you're still like a girl or a boy, but you have all this power now and all these skills, and you put it all together, and then you're a superstar. Alright, I'm kind of rambling right now. Yeah, so this has been like a half lap of trying to chase this young buck, and he's staying away. And that's like pretty epic in and of itself, right? Because sometimes you can see that someone's gaining on you, and they're coming for you. And like for me, it'll be like oh man, like it'll get in it'll play with you mentally. It'll test your mental fortitude. I'll be like, well, they're coming, so I should just like sit up, and then I can just ride with them or whatever. I can just ride with them and try and survive that way. But this junior saw me coming, and he's like, no, I'm going to keep the pressure on. I mean, who knows? You might not even be looking back. I mean, that's really the best way to race, right? Just to look forward. The race is in front of you, and keeps the gas on. And even though I was able to certainly progress up to this point where I'm like probably like 3 seconds, about 3 seconds, but he's making it so hard for me to get that final 3 seconds. And I think if you can do that long enough, the person behind you, it's like you're throwing the mental challenge back in their face and saying like, oh, like it's like you thought you were coming for me, but actually, like you don't have what it takes to come for me. So I love like that mental dueling of bike racing, specifically in cross. It's fun. It's really fun. Anyway, you can tell I'm wicked gassed here. That's pretty high heart rate for me. Like 175, it won't go up much higher than that in a cross race, unless it's like really hot. But I can hear my breathing, so I'm definitely working as hard as possible to catch him. And this section is all about the right apex of those turns. You can just squeeze as much speed out. And that's actually, it's like a lot harder to do that when you're really gassed. You know, like during a pre-ride or whatever, first, you know, during the first part of the race, it may be, you know, it's apparent what lines you should be taking. But when you're gassed like that, it's easier to get distracted. So that's like another super important cyclocross specific skill. I guess it's off-road skill in general. I don't know. I guess you can do that off-road too. So coming into the last lap here, and he's been able to stay away. But I still got like another 8 minutes or something to catch him. And I know first place isn't far ahead of him either. But at the same time, the other junior whose wheel I was following he's right there, so he's also working to get up to me. So it's a pretty good race. It's like a pretty sick race, honestly. Pretty close. Which is super fun. Always more fun when you're racing with other people. And even if you're not, that's why another reason why everyone says this, but like cross is so fun because like this could be me racing for no joke, like 30th place in the UCI race, and it'd be just as exciting to me. More or less. It doesn't matter so much if you're in front or not in terms of the race staying exciting. That's what I mean to say. So if you are a roadie, you should probably try cross. I gotta turn the power up on my trainer here. Too easy. I guess I'm recovered now. Boom, so a power section like that is so key to, especially on the last lap, you have to use as much of that power section as you can, like just hit it as hard as you can. Because you can only, the power section is only so long, so you need to optimize it completely. Because it's not so easy to gain time there in those turns. There's a speed limit. Coming into the sand here. I don't know what this sand was for, to be honest. It doesn't seem like a volleyball court. It's kind of like a sand layer in the back of this park. Some garbage cans. It's kind of trippy. Kind of a cool thing. I really like this course. Honestly, I know I already said that, but I could immediately tell when I got to the race this is like a revered event. You can kind of get that feeling when you go to a new event. It's kind of like feeling the vibe of it. Everyone else there, and yeah, for good reason, I think. And they have lights too. You can see it's getting dark. Like this race, I think was basically like late afternoon, early evening. And then the elite women and men get to race in the dark with the lights on. Which, I mean, that's a pretty rare thing too. Night racing is super fun. So, shout out Midnight Ride of Cyclocross. I will get more of my New York friends to come hopefully next year. Yeah, so that's really close there. I definitely made up more time to second place there. Like, I was just breathing down his neck. But he sprinted so hard right out of his remount that it was like a smack in my face, man. It's just like very, very dialed. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna work on that when I get home. Honestly, this year, I spent so much time during this season, rather, like on weekdays, just like getting off my bike, getting back on my bike, but sprinting out of the saddle when I got back on. And I mean, it helped. You have to be able to do that. Otherwise, you just lose time. It's worth it to like dedicate that time during the weekdays to get better at it. I mean, if like, I don't mean to sound like super serious, like ninja dude, like, being the best at cross is like my life's meaning, but it feels good though, you know, like it feels super good when you have a technique dialed in. You're able to make use of it, you know, in the field. It's a good feeling.
Coming in, coming in.
All right, so I yell at that last rider because I'm so close to catching second place. No, no hate, man. And then go down in the mulch. Cooked it a little too hard, got a little too excited. That's just something that like experienced cycling IQ learn from exactly that for the future, because that was a split second I was off the bike, but second place is now basically out of my reach, I would say. But there's not much left of the track, and this stuff we're going into here has major speed limits on it. Tons of turns, tons of corners. And not only that, but third place has been able to catch up to me, as we're about to see here.
Really, dude?
Yeah, so I had to get grumpy again. So you couldn't actually see it, and I didn't have a rear camera, but that other junior rider, like, he was racing really aggressive, super aggro dude, and I mean, I don't blame him for that by any means, and I hope to be more like that with racing. I'm just kind of a passive chill boy, but he kind of tried to take the line away from me, and like you couldn't even, he was never in front of me, so I feel like you could argue that was not like a kosher move to do. Like he essentially was just like trying to ride me off of the line. But yeah, I kind of just held my line there, and it caused him to like put a foot down. I don't know if he crashed or whatever, but I didn't feel bad about it or anything. And I hope he didn't either. So wherever you are out there, man, it's all good. So basically, my heart rate is pegged at this point, 180, and I think he's no longer a threat, but still, you know, like in the moment, especially when you get like heated like that with a fellow racer, it's like, okay, I'm just gonna go into freak mode, beast mode, whatever, and get it home. So second place stays away. Again, about 3 to 5 seconds, if that. And that's the race. So thanks for watching, dudes. I'm going to post more. Goodbye.